So I kind of want to show you guys today a way to use CGX, or rather a way that I use CGX when I want to get my, for lack of a better term, my creative thoughts going. You know, like I'm not 100% sure maybe what I want, but I kind of know the direction I want to go, and I want to stockpile options as the project moves forward. Why is that relevant right now? Because this shot here of Kristen at White Sands, New Mexico, this is, I love shooting at White Sands. If you follow my work, then you'll know that White Sands is one of my favorite places. Now, I have a lot of sets from a very long day shooting at White Sands, which I'm very excited about. Shot 5 or 6 models, I think it was, and just have a lot of beautiful sets that I'm finally sitting down to edit. Now, what sort of color approach, color language do I want? Not totally sure, but I want to explore now and then hold on to some of those. Either do the rest of the sets with Kristen or with the other models. I don't know yet, but I'm curious. And I have a project coming up that's all going to be pretty similar, you know, all at White Sands. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to work to create a bank of presets, okay? That's going to be like things that catch my eye while I'm looking through these randomizations. If something catches my eye and looks good on this setup, it is probably going to look pretty good on the rest of them, but I want to stockpile them because, yeah, you can randomly search with CGX. You can use the play button to shuffle your range, or you can use the full automatic, full random and get anything. And that's fun, super fun. But if you want to kind of narrow down some ideas, here's a way. So a second ago, before I hit record, I was kind of working with the highlights and shadow range that I like. I'm on create because I don't want full exploration right now. I don't want full random. I want to kind of get the general idea of where I am. So let's go ahead and hit our little play button and start seeing what we got. I'm going to keep hitting play until something comes up. I kind of like that. It's a little pink, and that's okay. I am not personally going to change the opacity. I'm just going to get the colors saved that I think could be cool for other shots. I'm going to, save the preset, and then I have the opacity option later. If you choose the opacity now, it'll be saved in the preset. So let's go to presets, and I'll add one. And I'm just going to call this White Sands 01. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a group, and I'm going to call it White Sands. Okay. WS01, create group. Okay. And save. And there it is, WS01. Cool. And now I'm going to hit play again. That's kind of muted, not bad. Muted and bright. Ooh, that has a lot of nice color. All right, come back here. Preset, add it to White Sands, WS02, save. You see that? You see kind of where I'm going here, right? All right, so let's look for another one. Something similar but different. That has a lot of color. Okay, I'm going to vary up a little bit. Get me a little bit more in cyan and a little bit pinker shadows. Okay, well, that wasn't bad. Let's just keep going. I think I'm going to save one of these muted ones. God, these are also good. Yeah. The colorful ones really get my attention, but those muted ones is kind of what I'm after right now. This one's real similar and simple. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and save it. WS03. Oops, WS03. White Sands, save. All right. Now I'm going to fast forward through getting a bunch because I want to show you what it's like when you have all of them. All right. So I'm going to go forward here, but we're going to fast forward the video. So I'll see you on the other side. All right, so I have a total on the presets of 10, and I think they're pretty cool. All of them look kind of cool to me and being like potential options for a color coming up on the rest of this set and potentially the rest of the White Sands set. Now, by the way, if you hear like a hammering sound, I think my neighbor started hammering something while I was doing all those presets, so sorry for the sound. Now, let's see what we can do. There's a couple of options that I want to kind of like show you, right? Not just that we're going to cycle through all these colors to see what they look like, especially on other images too, but I want to show you something that we can do, or rather that you can do, anyone can do, and it's a good idea on a set like this. Now, not just shooting in the White Sands, but in situations where you want to color grade certain areas. We'll talk about that. But for now, let's just cycle through. So we can double click all of these and see which ones stand out. You see that? I have a little White Sands pile. And as I go through other images, who knows what could look cool, right? See that? Now, let's take a look. Let's go ahead and pause a second. I'm going to open up some other White Sands images that I have that are not edited. And let's see what happens when we try our presets. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what happens on this other shot. We double click that one. Kind of cool. Really purple sky. Kind of like the green shadows on that. See that? Everything that I got with the, that I gathered together and stockpiled on the Kristen photo, I can apply to the Jenny photo, and I like kinds of different directions. And as I go about my project, starting with these, because remember, the presets don't just get applied and they're done. You can always come back to create and modify them in any way you need to modify them, right? So they're not just, okay, this is all you get. You can keep tweaking, right? But this will set like a color language for the whole project, right? And then you can tailor it as you need to, but it can set a whole color language. You might also do this with just simply one preset across some shots that are extremely similar or literally the same, except changes in posing, right? A simple preset is one thing you can do, I should say, using one at a time to kind of recreate the same look. That's super useful. But a stockpile of different, like I said, flavors, color language ideas is very, very important, right? Now, let's go back to the Kristen image, and I'm going to show you another option that you can use CGX for that I recommend you try out, because it's not just A or Z. You can kind of make some choices. All right, so back here on the Kristen image. Now, specifically on the white sand set, but it could be something that is important to you as well, because let's say you don't want to modify the background, but you want to explore color grading on your subject. Why? Maybe you want the sky to be pure blue and the gypsum, the sand and white sands to remain untouched as well. Okay, don't forget, you can use Photoshop subject selection. On a shot like this, it should succeed really well. Okay, so she's selected. The hat isn't. I'm going to leave it for now. That's okay. Now, the CGX look folder, the folder that contains all of the CGX color layers and contrast layers and all that. You click it, you have this selection of the subject running. Come down here to the bottom of layers, hit mask. Now CGX is only affecting your subject. But get this, the mask remains. So as you double click other presets, you're only changing your subject. And this might be important to you if you want to, like I said, preserve any element of the image, whether you're blending it up from the shadows or something like that. You only want it to be in a certain range. You only want the subject. Maybe you want everything but the subject, right? Create a mask on the CGX layer, and not only do the presets work, okay, but all of this stuff works. So you can change the saturation any way you want. You can take the contrast down. Just a little idea there so you don't forget that you can do this kind of thing, right? You know, when we use panels, we often forget that we can still, modify things as we need it. We can still be creative and tailor it how we want. That's a big philosophy and a big priority at NBP. We want our panels to always work actively on the layers window, actively on layers, opening up a third-party window to do a bunch of stuff and then hit OK, as it were, and then it's done. We are mostly against that idea because we believe in flexibility of workflow, right? So something like that is, again, something that you can absolutely do. Give you a quick little another rendition. Right now it's black. We can't see anything at all. Okay, but here's another idea too. I am just simply on the image itself. I'm going to turn off the CGX layer. I'm going to hit Option Command or Alt Control 2. That's going to let me select the luminosity of what I see. Now, while I'm there, have it selected, I'm going to go back to my mask. And when I invert on the mask, this is what the mask looks like. So right now I'm coloring mostly the shadows, which kind of wanted, right? So now CGX is only affecting the shadows, whether I change slider options or I double click here. Now my highlights are preserved more anyway, not completely more, because I'm using a really interesting luminosity mask that's based on the luminosity of the image itself. And now my color grades blend a little more and I preserve the highlights. Again, a priority for white sands perhaps, but something you can do for any image you want. It doesn't matter how you create the mask. It doesn't matter what you're masking. Just don't forget that you can mask out the CGX look folder to get any kind of custom thing that you want. I'm going to go ahead and remove that mask because I don't need it. But don't forget, guys, explore color. Random exploration is great. Tailored exploration is great, but a stockpile of color grades that you like and it could be cool for a project is not only convenient because, yeah, convenience is great, but it's also inspiring. And that is what I really want to push. I want to push that color can be inspiring. You can put a pile together, almost like you're kind of selecting the paints for the job, for the painting, and then you can apply it to different things as you move forward in your project. Color grading does not have to be necessarily complicated. Color grading doesn't have to be hyper technical. It can be fun. It can be exploratory, and it can really get you to that next level. Because one thing I always hear with my students is how do I color grade, and how do I develop my style? Well, a lot of times you stumble across it. So explore, enjoy, leverage CGX because that's what we created for. It's for color exploration and inspiration. It's not just click a button and hope. It's click a button and get your vision started, and then you can start tailoring things any way you like.